Okay, here's the simple model, and I want to show some really simple texturing. I won't get too in depth, but under Window, UV Texture Editor, you can see that the box is still basically in the UV layout of a cube. If we go under Create UVs, Planar Mapping, and hit the box, and you can basically planar map across the X, Y, and Z axis. And you can see I've positioned, keep image weight and height. I've positioned my skyscraper, so I'm projecting this planar map from this direction. And here you can see it's from X. It's relatively flat on, and you can see that the UVs now match or conform to the shape of my object. Now I'm going to move these like the regular Maya move tools, orbit around to the other side of my object, and then face select the faces on the opposite side on the Z axis. And then basically just shift click through, adding all the faces throughout my object. And if I select any other faces that I don't want, just control click to unselect them. And here, if you can see, if I orbit around, I don't have the X-axis faces selected. One face right here by accident was selected, so deselect it. Deselect up by the mast. And keep going. It's a little bit of a graphic issue where you see that, but I'm basically deselecting all the faces on the X-axis that I don't need. What I'm basically doing is splitting up this model like I'm shrink wrapping it or wallpapering it. And you basically want your UVs to be aligned to the shape of your object so that when you paint them in Photoshop, they're not stretched or squashed. So now I've basically selected everything in the Z-axis. I'm going to hit Create Planar Mapping, hit the square box, and this time hit the Z-axis. And then if I just click Project Now, now you can see I'm projecting from the Z-axis. The angle might be slightly off. I could refine that, but for all intents and purposes, if you look at them side by side, my X and Z axis UVs are looking pretty good. Then now within this UV layout, you can position those UVs within the 0 to 1 space of your map and move them depending on how you want to do it. So right now I'm going to select, I believe, shell. That'll select all the objects within here. Now I can move these like any kind of move tool in Maya. I'll probably shrink them slightly just because they're tight to the edge a little too much. Move them across, and then I'll probably move the X-axis a little closer to the Y, the Z. And the reason I'm lessening the real estate here is I plan on grouping multiple objects. Now if you go polygons, UV snapshot, this will actually give you the snapshot of these UVs on basically on a black background that you select and have an outline for UV. So right now I'm just saving them. So basically we can take this, ingest it into Photoshop, and use the UV outline as our guide for what we'll paint for our texture map in Maya, or we'll bring back into Maya. So UV snapshot. And you can see here I just navigated to my images folder from my Maya. Click OK. I have my size set to 1K. You can go up to 4K, 8K. Select the object, click OK, and then now this UV map, if we go back into Photoshop, and you'll see how this works. Images, UV snapshot, open it up. So it's black with a white outline